So your doctor told you you have a low ejection fraction, but you don't quite understand what that means. Maybe he said your heart's weak, or it's not pumping enough blood to the rest of the body, which is true, but you're still a little confused. Well, let's break it down and make it real easy to understand. The first thing we have to talk about is diastole and systole. But what are those? Well, when the heart's relaxing, it starts to stretch and fill up with blood. At the very last second before the heart squeezes, we have something called your EDV, your end diastolic volume. What's that? Well, it's how much blood or how much volume is in the heart at the end of diastole when it's relaxing. But then what happens to the heart after diastole? Well, then it squeezes and contracts to get that blood to the rest of the body. This is called systole. And when the heart squeezes, it actually doesn't pump all of the blood out of the heart. Some gets left in there. This is called your ESV, or your end systolic volume, or how much blood or volume is left in the heart at the end of systole. That seems pretty simple too. Well, then if we take these two numbers and subtract them, we get something called your stroke volume. Your stroke volume is the exact amount of blood that left the heart on this specific heartbeat. But how does all of this tie back into your ejection fraction? Well, your ejection fraction is a fraction of how much blood was ejected out of your heart expressed as a percentage. How do we calculate that? Well, we take the stroke volume divided by the end diastolic volume, times it by 100, and you get your EF. Okay, that's a lot of big words. Let's break it down again. So we want to take your stroke volume. In this scenario, we'll say we had 100 milliliters of blood. And at the end of systole, we had 30 milliliters of blood. So if we subtract these two, we get 70 milliliters of blood. That's our stroke volume. Now, if we take that number, which is 70 milliliters, and divide it by how much we started with, which was 100 milliliters, see down here, this fraction, and then we multiply by 100, we get an ejection fraction of 70%, which is good, meaning this patient is ejecting 70% of their blood on each heartbeat. Now, when you start to get below 40, that's when it's considered a low EF. It can be worrisome because your heart's not strong enough, or maybe it's too weak to plump all that blood to the rest of the